Hi, my name is Jennifer Toussaint, and I'm the Chief of Animal Control in Arlington County, Virginia. We are creating a YouTube series that will be called Chats with the Chief. It is meant to be an informal series of conversations regarding animal control related topics and animal welfare. The first of the series is this video, so thank you and welcome. Please feel free to comment below and mention any topics or questions or concerns you have. It doesn't have to be specifically from Arlington County. I will try to address a broad range of topics in this series and specifically mention when things are only for my jurisdiction or it's a generalized concept for animal control. So for this first video, I am going to talk about rabies exposure and animal bites. This is actually the topic that spurred me into the concept of creating this YouTube series. Here in Arlington, we've seen a trend and I would like to talk about it. So I came on to animal control in Arlington County about 7.5 years or so ago, so very beginning of 2012. In 2012, here in Arlington County, we investigated a total of 226 animal bite related cases. Last year in 2017, we investigated 510. So it's averaging that it's increasing every year by about 45 additional cases. And this year we're set, if the trend continues the next few months, to greatly exceed more than 550. So given that, I would like to talk with the public, talk with you about animal control and our role in animal bites and rabies exposure. So as animal control officers, we are tasked with ensuring that animals are quarantined and released from quarantine with the Department of Human Services. Now this is an overall concept for animal control, so in your jurisdiction, Department of Human Services Communicable Disease will monitor any exposure from a dog, cat, or ferret to a person where skin is broken. We consider that an exposure. I keep using that word. Exposure means that there's a potential for rabies transmission. So when we have those cases, DHS is notified, laws require medical professionals to report animal bites specifically to DHS, and DHS works with animal control agencies or your animal warden or humane investigator in your jurisdiction to ensure that those animals are healthy 10 days after the date of that exposure. So this is done in a variety of ways in different jurisdictions. It is not one standard model, but here in Arlington County, animal control serves and releases those animal quarantines. It is a lot of work. A lot of time and effort goes into this, but it's very, very important because these are human lives, and we take this very, very seriously. So regardless of whether or not your pet is vaccinated, should your animal break skin on a person, that quarantine is done for 10 days. And again, it is regardless of vaccination history. Obviously, having a vaccination history kind of puts that exposure at very low risk, whereas if we get a report and the animal that exposed the person, aka bit the person breaking their skin, has no vaccination history, we're a little bit more concerned about that quarantine. But we do hundreds of them, as I've said, a year without issue here in Arlington County, working with members of the public to serve and release those quarantines. We don't necessarily take your pet from you. A lot of people get very concerned when their animal bites that we're gonna run out and take their animal away. If it was a circumstance where you were not taking appropriate precautions, meaning your dog chases someone down the block loose and perhaps bites someone, there may be a situation where we quarantine here. But again, the animal gets returned to you at the end of that quarantine. But last year we didn't impound any of those 510 animals. So again, it has to be a very specific circumstance where we feel like you're not going to be able to appropriately quarantine the pet. So a lot of people get very, very concerned about reporting bites and getting phone calls from animal control. We are here to just help. We are here to ensure that everybody is safe, that your pets are safe, that people are safe, and that we're following up appropriately on these kinds of cases. So now I'd love to talk about why I have so many as compared to when I started. And I think there's a variety of factors that have attributed to that. And this is why I wanted to make this video. So we have more than double the amount of animal exposures that we had 7 years ago. And I think some of that is an increase in reporting. Thank you for trusting us and reaching out to us so that we can follow up appropriately. I think part of that is also increase in pet ownership. Pet ownership in the United States is going up. I think they average 2 animals per household now, and dogs, cats, and ferrets, but dogs and cats are the most commonly owned pets. So that's probably part of this. I think though part of this is also ownership and management of our pets. So this is going to be part of my community conversation. So I can only talk about my personal experience in animal control relating to bites and exposures. But here in Arlington, we're getting a drastic increase in number of bites where animals were not appropriately confined and or put in a situation that resulted in a bite. And some of those things are as basic as being out in a public space and tethering your dog to an item and not paying attention. So we have a lot of areas where you can bring your pet in Arlington County. We were actually voted Yelp's most dog-friendly community this year, which we were very proud of. But when you're out in the public and you've brought along your pet, you really need to keep a close eye. Tethering your dog on a patio for a restaurant or things of that nature, and then kind of, moving off or moving away from your pet leaves your pet exposed to feeling uncomfortable and you not registering that discomfort. And then we get a minor bite, but a bite as a result of it. We've also seen an increase in situations where dogs are put off leash in our county park areas adjacent to playgrounds and things, and children have been bitten. This one specifically really is hard for me and my team, as we really believe that we have so many community canine areas. In Arlington, we have one almost every 4 to 5 square miles, and we're not sure why people are using the child's playgrounds instead of going to the dog park specifically, but children deserve to be safe and secure while on their playground areas. So please do not bring your dog and let them off leash adjacent to the children's playground area. We have seen an increase in these bites over the last few years. And again, these are bites that, while minor, have a large impact on that child, how that child relates to animals in the future, and whether or not that community in general feels safe using that playground equipment. Because parents, of course, are going to tell each other what happened, and then, there's a distrust around whether or not that area is safe. So I hope that you've liked this video. Again, we're going to be doing quite a series of these, and I have already quite a few topics in mind, but please feel free to comment below about something you'd like to hear more about. Do you have a question? Have you come across a certain situation and you weren't sure why it was dealt with in that way by animal control? I would love to give the animal control perspective on many different things that come up in our community, both locally and nationally. And I hope that you come back and check out more videos as they come out. Thank you.